This week in comic books, I only picked up one DC book, so I'm not going to spoil it here in the intro. Also, in the land of Marvels, Marvel proves to us that they will do anything to get you to read or interact with the Eternals in some way, shape, or form. I have some questions that I need to ask you, the audience. Also, in the land of independence, I have a one per store exclusive preview of probably the most 80s thing ever. Like, so let's roll an intro and jump into it. Hey, you wonderful weirdos, it's Pocan Joe, and I'm back at you with a whole new week of some comic book goodness. So well, let's just jump right into it. I only picked up one DC comic book this week, and that was, of course, Superman #1. So, big crisis is happening, right? Big crisis. It involves the multiverse, right? And all the different multiverses and versions of Superman, and that's pretty much what we're focusing on here. This particular Superman is more focused on Earth, not really traveling out and taking care of all the problems out there in the universe. However, his son, like most men, dream of taking on bigger and greater battles and wars, right? So he hears the screams out in the universe of everything that Darkseid's doing, and he wants to go battle that. It's an admirable trait. And the parents look at it the same way you would probably imagine kind of like military families handle, the son wanting to leave and go join the military. They're scared, there's concerns, but they understand the urge of adventure. So I thought it was a very heartfelt story. The second story in here deals with Aquaman. Now, I'm not a huge Aquaman fan. It's not really in my wheelhouse, but I did read through it, and basically it's just another alternate version where the entire thing turns out to be a dream. I'm not a fan of that kind of storytelling where you tell a whole story and then the guy wakes up at the end in some hellscape, right? That's pretty much what happens here. I thought it was nice to see Arthur Curry and his father and his mother, kind of renew their vows in this story. And of course, there's always a bad guy element to it too. Very simplistic story. So all in all, I'd say the first story was pretty good. We got to see this Jonathan Kent kid kind of grow up, and the urn or the call for adventure kind of happen, right? And him going off to do that. But all in all, I don't know. How relevant is this to the current storylines with everything that's going on with Darkseid and the War of the Worlds, and then we got the whole Mongol thing as well. It doesn't really seem to fit into it, so I'm not really sure where this fits in to the overall story at this point. But who knows? Maybe we'll see if they come out with an issue 2. I'll probably check it out. All right, next. So that was it for DC this week. I'm sorry I didn't pick up much DC. I was trying to really keep my hauls low and just focusing on the primary books this week. So Eve of Destruction came out from Marvel, right? Next big event, Marvel. The Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and the X-Men, and the Eternals are all going to battle it out, and this kind of launched it out, and it turns out, well, not so much in this story. The truth is, it's just the same Eternal stuff that we've been reading, so if you haven't liked any of the things up to this point that the Eternals have relaunched in issue #1 3 times now here recently, in recent memory, you're probably not going to like this too much. But overall, we get another grand Eternal guy who decides mutants are really part of this whole deviant thing, and they need to go away. They need to die. Some political science kind of goes on there about how manipulation happens to create something like a bomb that will genetically destroy deviants, or as they see deviants. And then we also know that 2 other ones, the more religious factors of this particular team, these 2 Eternals, they have Dr. Sinister tied up and kidnapped in a room someplace. I hope they would play off of whole science and religion thing, because that's kind of Sinister's thing, right? DNA, messing with genetics, that kind of thing. And then the other 2 are the more religious fractions of it. And then for some reason we just got, because you need to add some action, I would imagine, we have Icarus, who's in some underworld, gets into a battle, and he's really kind of questioning this whole dealing with humanity thing, and is it really our job to protect them? Because that was always his stick too. All in all, it's an overly complicated story that it could be really, really streamlined out and made simple. But for the most part, I don't see how their politics, right, is really what we're dealing with here, or their society, if you will, really matter if what we're looking for is the next big battle and who's right, who's wrong, how the line's divided. Their internal strife doesn't really strike me as an important storyline. But then again, I could be wrong. I haven't read any stories before it, but this was not interesting to me. It just wasn't. But cool cover. That's what comic book reviewers do, right? So we have to say something good about each comic book comes out. Luckily, we judge books by their cover. I'm so getting a thumbs down for that. All right, next we got Savage Avengers. I'm liking this. I want to start off with that. However, I think we have too many Savage Avengers on one team, and it gets kind of muddled. Case in point, the Savage Avengers in this one are going to lay a trap for Deathlock in this, right? So Deathlock shows up, and everybody's got this. It's a really overcomplicated plan, right? That Elektra, Daredevil, right, kind of put together. And I don't know, anytime you have too many cogs in a wheel, right, increases the chance for something to break, right? This plan just seemed overly complicated just to beat him down, to a point that they didn't even really kill him because Thal Doom shows up. If you don't know who he is, he's basically been a Conan villain for a while. Kind of looks like a Skeletor type character. He kind of pops in at the last minute, creating his little boogaloo because he's got a problem with everything that's going on too. So Deathlock escapes, but somehow or another, while he's recovering, he kind of channels, I guess is the best way to put it, has a vision of Miles Morales screaming in another dimension. However, we still don't know exactly what Conan has done to the timeline to call for this immediate erasing of Conan through the Deathlock. I was kind of hoping at this point we would kind of get a hint. I hope they don't do that. Oh, it's all just a big misunderstanding thing. I hope like he legit did something. If you don't know, Marvel has lost the rights to Conan, so they could technically kill him off. And I hope they don't, but I mean they could. But artwork is solid in this. The characters are solid in this. It's just a great read. It is fun, but again, I thought maybe it was just one too many Savage Avengers. Like, and not to be the guy that says this kind of thing, but you'll get more done with fewer people, right? It's always the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the people, are there. 20% of the people are doing the majority of the work. So, and you definitely see that in here because, like, Cloak didn't really have that much to do with, like, he could have just not been there. Instead, they used him as artificial bait. It was weird. Next, we're going into Moon Knight. So we're starting another arc in here, which is good because I'm really enjoying me some Moon Knight here lately. I would say, as far as reading a story, this was my pick of the week. So now we're going after the vampires. You may know that he has 2 vampires, now 3 vampires. We find out that Soldier didn't die. The character's name is Soldier. He was in the last arc, and it was kind of presumed that he was killed. We'll come to find out, no, not so much. Our female vampire bit him on the neck. I know some of you are about to type something. Don't leave that joke in there. Just keep it in your head. And now he's a vampire. However, the structure, right, the mafiosos of the vampire organization, if you will, they have a lead vampire by the name of Tudor. And Tudor really, really, really needs Moon Knight to die because he's really, really, really messing up the whole structure. The whole corporation, the organization, because he's just dropping vampires left and right. He wants to go after these people for what they've been doing, turning people into vampires, beyond without their permission, right? No consent to be a vampire. We do get introduced to 2 characters in here, and I don't think they're first appearances. I've heard some other reviewers out there say first appearance of this character. One is Naaman, and the other one is Grand Maul. However, I think these are past characters. So Neiman, I believe, is Neiman Lion. The guy kind of looks like a cat figure in there. His first appearance would have been in Thor and the Warriors, and the Warriors 4, number 1. All right, and the next one, I believe, even though it's not in there, her name is Grand Maul. I think this could be Malik Khan is who I think it is, because Khan, Grand, right? They're right. which is just a minor villain who's been in and out of comic books so many times I can't even find their first appearance. I believe that's who we're dealing with in here. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I don't think these two characters are the first appearance of these characters. I think it's Tudor that would be correct. This would be his first physical appearance. So yeah, good story. I would definitely be picking it up if you haven't already. Next, Punisher. So Punisher's kind of taking this weird turn. So we got Ares, god of war, right? And he wants to battle. He wants to battle the Punisher, and he wants to kind of battle this ancient god, the Beast, right? That kind of rule the hand. But he's kind of mad. He's kind of mad at the other god and the priest and everything. They're like, you ruined the guy that was like the personification of me and turned him into this whatever crap thing that you believe in. And it was kind of cool. And he's kind of upset about it, like emotionally upset about it. And I thought that was great. But we actually see that he is, yes, the chosen avatar for this particular god as he gets confronted by two characters in it, and they learn real quick. And they get it handed to him. It was great. I'm enjoying this story. And I've said this a couple of times every time I've reviewed this book. I understand some people, a little emotionally invested in the Punisher symbol, and they kind of see this new symbol as a slight on them or whatever. I'll be honest with you. Symbols change over years to begin with, right? So it was only a matter of time. Plus, it only makes sense in this story because he is a member of the Hand. Will they keep it that way? More than likely not. But the whole media thing about launching it because of certain groups and certain organizations and government agencies using the symbol, you can't control that. And simply stopping it on the character doesn't really change anything either. But I want to know your thoughts. Are you upset by this change, or do you see this as a temporary thing? What do you think? Please let me know down in the comments below, because I kind of want to get a more rounded, understanding of where the community's at with this. Just for personal fun and knowledge, giggles. All right, next, Mandalorian #1. I was able to pick up this beautiful 1 in 25 variant. I'm super happy to have that. But if you watch the show, that's what this is. I was hoping that maybe we were going to get some more insight into the character. It literally just picks up just like the show, and hyper speeds through it. But it's still not bad. The artwork's good in it. We have some good characters. If you liked the beginning few episodes of The Mandalorian, you'll probably enjoy this too. Plus, it's just cool to have in your comic book collection, right? Piece of nostalgia. So when you're 40 years old or 50 years old, you're not out running around trying to find the rare variant because they're out there now. Good time to go ahead and pick it up and just throw it in a box. Okay, so I'm super. Every now and then I get stupid lucky, right? And I'm able to get these one per store preview variants. I've done it for things like Kit and several other comic books over the years. And I was able to do it again, and this one came in an Ashcan version, and it's Mad Balls versus the Garbage Pail Kids. Probably the most 80s thing you could probably pick up, right? And it's just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous, funny story. It's all that it is. Basically, Garbage Pail Kids live over here, Mad Balls live over here, and there's a normal family that lives in the middle that believes in the typical stereotypes of suburban life, right? And of course, they do disgusting things, and they compete in competitions against each other. It's rude, crude humor, and it's fun. And that's all it really is. It's just a fun read when you kind of need to break out of the superhero stuff and just kind of refresh a little bit to know that there's other types of comic books out there. This is good. So I'm super happy to have this. This will definitely go into the collection, probably with my original Garbage Pail Kids #1 comic book. I'll probably just stick it in there with that. All right, guys, so that's this week's haul. A couple of things. Keep your eyes open for this over at Mr. Comics 89. I'm going to be in a debate. I'm going to be arguing. I made it to round 2. I am arguing on the behalf of Darkseid, and I believe I'm going against Thor. And I don't think I'm going to have any troubles. I'm just saying. Come into this stuff confident. You're always a winner. Uh, but yeah, we're going to have that argument over there. Well, not argument, debate. And we'll go back and forth. So I definitely want to see you there. That's on July the 16th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at Mr. His link will be in the description below. Definitely. And you get the vote. Which one do you like? Who did the better argument? At this point, it's just votes. It doesn't matter. Where you get to vote for one of the two people. And there'll be a live chat, too. So if somebody says something wrong, you can call them out right there in the chat. Say, no. That's not right. Who knows? That should be fun. And I'm going to do it again over on another channel that's hosted by Nitwits. I'll have the link to that channel in the description below as well, where I'm going to be arguing on behalf of the Riddler for this one against John Constantine, which my good friend Taylor Winder is going to be arguing for him. That one was done a little differently. We kind of pre-recorded everything, so I'm kind of curious how that turns out. So yeah, big shout out for those folks out there. Again, those links will be in the description below. Definitely check it out. And of course, if you haven't checked out my merch shop, my Evil Layer merch shop, you can definitely get a t-shirt, super soft t-shirts, a polo, pop a collar, or just some other cool stuff. You can definitely check that out. And that's all I got, folks. Thanks for stopping by. Look forward to seeing you around in the chats, discussing things, or IG, wherever. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.